Mira Nair, lovely to have you, and lovely to have you for such a fantastic film, Mira, which is so inspiring and so beautiful, but also a little bit subversive, may I say.
In what way do you think?
Well, I mean, you don't normally see Disney
Yeah.
movies with this kind of, level of, there's teenage prostitution, there's kind of the hardships of life are in there.
Yes.
You didn't shy away from them.
That's the remarkable thing, really, about the Queen of Katwe as it is that even though Disney came to me to make this movie based on this little sports article in this ESPN journal on Fiona, so I developed the screenplay, and they loved the kind of attitude that Bill Wheeler and I had brought to it, but it was never any sugarcoating, never any sanitizing, never any, and it was that's what I expected, frankly. But because I think of Tendo Nagenda, and the fact that
Your producer.
well, he's the vice president at Disney for production. He's the person whose idea it was to make this film and to come to me to direct it. He was truly like a guardian angel through the process of the studio, which very quickly embraced, I think, the power of the truth of it. And
But you know it firsthand as well. I
exactly.
mean, this is you had to do this. Didn't
Yes,
you? You couldn't
yes.
say, "Oh, I'm not too busy. I'm not."
Oh,
I know.
no,
I know
no.
you like to
Of
relax.
course, yeah. I mean, I live in Uganda. I live in Kampala for 27 years. It's my home. And I have never seen the sort of everyday joy and everyday dignity of how, despite the struggle, of that kind of lifeist quality of its people and our people, I've never seen that on screen. And it's always the tale of darkness and despair and dictatorship and, a life that is very unfamiliar to us who live on an everyday level. And so Queen of Katwe was that chance to bring my home to your home and to have you recognize yourself also in that story. But it's a very stylish place, Katwe and Kampala. It's full of vibrancy and style and birds and people who insist on wearing a school uniform and getting their way into school. And it's a place that is inspiring because it's about a people who focus on what they have rather than what they don't have. And the story of Robert and Fiona is a true story.
Did you know the story before you?
No.
I mean, although you lived there, had it emerged from
No.
the?
4
many stories?
years ago, Fiona Mutesi was unknown. She was hardly in the papers. Chess is a pretty cerebral game. It's a popular game, but not in the way that is media savvy or anything. So I did not, I'm surrounded by local stories. I have a film school called Maisha. I have 600 filmmakers telling our own stories around me. But the story of Fiona Mutesi came to me from Hollywood. It's interesting, but absolutely true.
You've done sort of this before. It reminded me of Salaam, Bombay, your debut film, so long ago. Not that long, but it was quite a
Pretty
long
long.
time. You had that energy of the Mumbai streets
Yeah.
in that one. Is this something you were recapturing, and this time at last getting to do it for Africa?
Yes, I mean, it was, it was a real chance to distill that sort of juxtaposition of brutality and delicacy of that hysteric green of the flora with the unbelievable redness of the earth. I mean, that's what I live around. And it's, I did think of Salaam Bombay because several times it's the same kind of quality of casting kids from the streets, playing themselves essentially, enhancing their strengths and putting them against legendary actors, like David and Lupita and so on. In that sense, I've pretty much done that in many, many films, that meeting point of the purity of a non-actor against a legend, but a common theme is uniting most of my work, which is, who declares us outside society, who is the marginal? And I'm always loving the story of the underdog, of the person who challenges that question with their own minds, with their own, powers.
And your films are always about
Yes.
that, because
Yes.
where is home? It is that outside. It's like kind of home is where you make it, and that's where you have in Uganda.
Well, yeah, home is where you make it, but home is also where you engage with the soil of the place, where you engage with the people, where you have to, it is a two-way place, to be always in a state of nostalgia is a useless thing. You have to be useful to where you are. And home for me is definitely Uganda. But just as much as it is in New York, and I do come from New Delhi, India. So for me, my roots are so strong but that's why I can fly. And it's such a beautiful thing to be able to distill that sense of home, to consolidate 27 years of feeling at home in a film, Queen of Katwe, that is now, thanks to Disney, brought to the whole big world.
So were you marching out with your film school? You know, you've got these millions of students or hundreds of students. Were you marching out like an army, like, you know, leading them out like Hannibal across the
Well,
across
not
Uganda?
really, but I mean, and you know what's important for me, that is we tell our own stories and tell them with excellence in craft. So about 30% of the crew of Queen of Katwe, which is a absolutely Hollywood studio movie shot in Uganda, is from Maisha, are students of mine who are now professionals. And that's beautiful to see, that after 12 years of, you know, creating this free school and struggling for it and having dinners and lunches with rich folks to say, come on, give us a donation for this school, that you finally have an East African culture of cinema.
Yeah. And isn't Lupita a former student
Yes.
of yours?
Yeah, Lupita was both an apprentice to me while I was making the Namesake for about a year in my production company in New York, and then came to work at Maisha and made her first 2 films as an actor in Maisha Films in 2006. She planted a tree. I have all students and teachers plant saplings in their name, and now that tree is 100 foot tall, literally. And she's a star, as her tree is, and it's a beautiful homecoming.
And well, it's a beautiful film, and that fecund soil of Africa has delivered fruit in Queen of Katwe. And I'm so glad it was you did it, Mira. Thanks for doing
Thank
this.
you so much. Getting handsomer by the bloody day.